Carl and Liam here from Games, Brains and a Head-Banging Life. gbhblofficial for short, and it's We're Afraid of the Dark. Our Are You Afraid of the Dark talk through and review. Season 4, Episode 7, so over the halfway point of Season 4 now. It is the tale of the Silent Servant. And I genuinely couldn't believe they somehow, from the production order, managed to put two things related to silence and quiet in a row. I mean, that's just stupid, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can't explain that.
Yeah. Written by Wendy Brotherlin and directed by Jean-Marie Cumio. Now, that is an interesting pairing of a unique writer and director. A writer I don't recognize, the director's popped up a few times. Cast Jesse Tendler as Jared Connor, Kimberly Warnott as Ann Peterson, Brian Dooley as Pete Peterson. Pete Peterson. Brilliant.
Great name.
Tyler Labine as Mark Peterson, Frank Fontaine as John Earlstead, Sam Malkin as Crazy George, and John Walsh as Silent Servant, spoilers, slash Scarecrow. Oh,
Sorry,
I wonder what this is about.
Frank Fontaine, did you say?
Yeah, Frank
Bioshock reference.
Fontaine. Yeah, the actor's name is Frank Fontaine. A couple little facts here. Brian Dooley, who portrays Pete Peterson, has actually been in the show before, and he has a very memorable face for all of those who go to the very, very start of this show. Episode 1, Season 1, he was the Tale of the Phantom Cab as Flynn, the
Oh
cab
man,
driver.
I knew I recognized him, man. That's a deep cut.
That is a deep fucking cut. Tyler Labine is the brother of actor Kyle Labine, who appeared as Evan in the Goosebumps episode Monster Blood.
Hmm.
But Tyler Labine is kind of famous if you know a particular horror movie, because he would go on to do notable roles in such things. One of them being Voltron Legendary Defender. Not a fan, don't know it. But he starred in the excellent and underrated Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Very underrated movie.
Mm. And finally, Sam Malkin, who plays Crazy George, was in the Goosebumps episode The Barking Ghost as Scratch.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, no, don't remember him. Okay, look, this is a Betty Ann story, and I'm telling you that up front because it is that time. It's once at the beginning, once halfway through, and once at the end. It is time to reflect on who is the leaderboard of storytellers. It is that time. So, obviously, with many characters having dropped off, the early stages of it is pretty straightforward. And with two stories at the very, very bottom, it is Eric from season 1, The Tale of Jake and the Leprechaun, The Tale of the Dark Music. Eric left after season 1, so that is where he will remain,
Hmm.
realistically. In next place, with three stories, it's Sam, The Tale of Watcher's Woods, The Tale of the Dream Girl, both from season 3, and from season 4, The Tale of the Long Ago Locket. Give Sam a break. She only joined season 3, so she's getting there.
Yep, one to come soon.
Indeed, Tucker comes next, and he has four stories. The Tale of the Midnight Ride, The Tale of the Phone Police, and The Tale of the Guardian's Curse, all from season 3, and one from season 4, which is The Tale of the Water Demons. Tucker's a mixed bag, but, there's some
Hmm.
good stuff there.
Yeah, it's okay.
Kirsten. Remember Kirsten, folks? She left at the end of season 2. She had five stories: The Tale of the Hungry Hounds and The Tale of the Prom Queen from season 1, The Tale of the Final Wish, The Tale of Locker 22, and The Tale of the Frozen Ghost from season 2. And nothing more from Kirsten, but she's still quite high up.
That's a pretty strong lineup.
Yes, as is David, who also has five stories and is no longer in the show. The Tale of the Lonely Ghost, The Tale of the Twisted Claw from season 1. From season 2, though, he has The Tale of the Dark Dragon, The Tale of the Shiny Red Bicycle, and The Tale of the Hatching from season 2. And one or two of those
Ooh.
elevates his standing.
Yeah, Gary should have held on to that talent, man. Should have not let him go.
Also with five stories, but still in the show and floundering as of late, it is Frank. We
Hmm.
have seasons 1's The Tale of the Phantom Cab, then season 2's The Tale of the Midnight Madness and The Tale of the Full Moon. Then from season 3, The Tale of the Dangerous Soup. And then from season 4, even though it's a joint story, I'm counting it as his story too, The
Hmm.
Tale of Cutter's Treasure. And you kind of see it's dropping off a bit, man.
I think it's ever since Sam came into the show, he's made it very clear he's finding her quite distracting. So I don't think it's really his fault.
Okay, top three with six stories now. It's Kiki. Kiki absolutely killing it. with The Tale of the Captured Soul from season one, The Tale of the Dream Machine, and The Tale of Old Man Corcoran from season two. The Tale of Apartment 214 and The Tale of the Quicksilver from season three, and from season four, The Tale of the Quiet Librarian. Mixed, man. Kiki's
Mm.
stories are mixed.
That's very up and down, yeah.
Indeed, but in second place with seven stories and a disgraceful collection of stories, it is our glorious leader himself, Gary, with The Tale of the Super Specs, The Tale of the Pinball Wizard from season one, The Tale of the Magician's Assistant from season two, The Tale of the Carved Stone, The Tale of the Crimson Clown from season three. His strongest stuff is in season three, I think. And
Mm.
in season four, The Tale of the Renegade Virus, and sharing the story with Frank, The Tale of Cutter's Treasure.
Mm.
Mm.
Gary, Gary, Gary.
Hmm. But absolutely running away with it with nine stories. So two ahead of Gary. It's Betty Ann. And it's strong as well. We have The Tale of the Laughing in the Dark, The Tale of the Nightly Neighbours, The Tale of the Sorcerer's Apprentice from season one, The
Wow.
Tale of the 13th Floor, The Tale of the Whispering Walls from season two, The Tale of the Dollmaker, The Tale of the Bookish Babysitter, and The Tale of the Curious Camera from season three. And one from season four, which we're about to talk through now, The Tale of the Silent Servant. So that is
Mm.
Betty Ann at nine. Yeah, that's it. She's running away with it.
Yeah, I mean, even though like she's done the most stories, I think she's probably got the most of the like better stories as well. So I guess there's a reason why.
Yeah, and I've got to say, like Frank, we've always bigged up Frank, but the Tale of Cutter's Treasure really hurt his standing.
Oh, yeah, that was just sad because of the way it handled the two most iconic characters in the show. You know, maybe, but like we said, he was paired alongside Gary, so I like to think that it was mostly Gary's creative vision that dragged that down like completely.
It's yeah, it's we basically need to release the Frank cut. We want the Frank cut, man.
I can only imagine how good it would have been.
Right, so at the campsite, Gary, Sam, and Tucker are already there when Frank and Kiki show up annoyed, seemingly with Betty Ann, as they reveal she stopped them sneaking into a movie. What a fucking tool. Basically, and Frank rightly points out, because this is the thing, you'd be like, oh, well, maybe she didn't want to do it. Frank points out, well, like, they could, she could have just left and let them sneak into a movie, and like that would have been
Yeah,
that.
yeah, definitely.
Betty Ann's response is that she's not so sure about that though. She really thought it was wrong to sneak into another movie without paying. She sits down and tells them that they should have had a choice: stand up for what's right or stay silent. And I was like, Jesus Christ, Betty Ann, chill
Mm.
out. Like, take it. It's just like a movie. Calm down.
I know. Do you like own it or something?
Yeah. Bayan says it is. Silence is power, the power of the unknown and the unspoken. Silence can be a blessing, a welcome moment of peace, or it can be evil. The trick is to know when to welcome it or to be very afraid. And submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society, this is the tale of the Silent Servant. Listen, it's a terrible introduction. I'm already like, didn't we just do this? Didn't we just do this? But I also know that it's about a scarecrow. And I'm like, not scarecrow.
Mm.
We did this with Goosebumps, man. And to be honest, this is very similar to Goosebumps.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of comparisons that are going to come up as we talk through it. But this is definitely one of those episodes where I think like the title doesn't necessarily give away what the hell it's about. Like, as soon as it like started in like the setting, and when I realized it was about a scarecrow, I didn't really realize like bloody hell because I guess you're in the mindset of the the Quiet Librarian one from the previous episode. So you like are still in that mindset. You kind of picture a different thing than it actually is.
Yeah. I thought we'd be doing something with a ghost, like a servant ghost who can't speak, you know? Yeah.
Mm.
Because we do begin on a farm where a farmhand named Crazy George is woken up by the farm owner, Mr. John Earlstead, who takes something from his hand. George is startled and panicking, claiming that the words don't work anymore before running off. Mr. Earlstead then speaks to someone or something in a nearby closet, saying that he told it never to reveal itself, throwing in an object and closing the door. Whatever is inside now tries to get out, but Mr. Earlstead commands it to be still, which it does, and Mr. Earlstead says he's going to take care of their friend George. And we cut to 20 years later. Big fan of these classic cold opens where you kind of get a
Mm.
hint of something dark, but you don't really know what's going on. Honestly, more of this.
Yeah, no, I really like the setup at the beginning, and just it's all really solid. The acting and just the way it's shot, it has automatically like had a feel of a higher budget episode. This one straight away.
and no kids. Like the fact we start with adults as well, it's like, okay, this might be a bigger, darker story.
Yeah.
So yeah, 20 years later, Jared Connor, a teenage boy, is spending his summer visiting his cousin Ann Peterson on their country farm home. Parents just ship them off, basically. It's a classic Are You Afraid of the Duck? Goosebumps was always bad for parental figures. Are You Afraid of the Duck doesn't even bother writing them in.
Yeah, it's true.
Jared loves baseball, and while playing catch with Anne one day, throws long and breaks the window of the house. Anne's father, or Uncle Pete to Jared, is less than pleased, instructing Anne's older brother Mark, who of course is Jared's older cousin, to take away their baseball gloves. They will have to work off the debt to get the gloves back, which includes making deliveries and building a garden fence to keep the deer out. Honestly, how hilariously is that garden? Like when it pans over to this tiny big farm with this tiny little square of garden, it's the most set looking garden you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, take back the higher budget comment.
Yeah, it just looks bad. Yeah. En route to deliver some beans, as you do, they pass Mr. Ersted's old barn, and Jared wants to check it out. On the way to the entrance of the barn, they see Mr. Ersted's gravestone, which reads John Erstone, 1905 to 1974, and above his name are two gold dragons. Anne tells Jared that Mr. Ersted was said to be some sort of sorcerer who had invisible servants working on his farm. That's an intriguing idea, but the setup is poor. We quickly gather that Jared is not he's not new to the country. This isn't like a rare visit. He comes before and all that. Why would he suddenly now be interested in this barn that he's probably seen countless times before?
Yeah, I didn't even pick up on that, but you're absolutely right.
Obviously, Jared doesn't believe her stories, and they go inside where he hopes to be able to use the old planks to make himself a baseball dugout. This is the most random thing anybody's ever brought up in this show of what they want to build. A baseball dugout. But I was like, but what about the field? Like, what point of a dugout if you don't have a baseball field?
I don't
Also,
know.
isn't the dugout into the ground? I don't like
That's why it's called a dugout.
yeah, it set my imagination aflame of what he was generally thinking he was going to build.
What, just to just to sit there, like, and do what?
Exactly. I started to think, is this like a prequel of Field of Dreams?
I mean, it could be, but he just wants like a bench. That's what he wants,
Yeah,
essentially.
basically.
A chair, a chair.
So they start to take some planks down, but during that they basically loosen a closet, the closet from earlier, and an old scarecrow falls out. And Anne finds a strange talisman and puts it in her pocket. And Jared thinks, well, we'll take the scarecrow, we can use it to scare away the deer from the garden. So he and Anne carry the scarecrow back home, and immediately there's a problem here for me. It's that classic Goosebumps things where it's like, no one makes scarecrows that look like this. I know scarecrows can be creepy by and
Mm.
by, but this is a horror movie scarecrow from the off. And Emilian's like, yeah, that's just a little too much.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a costume almost, like something someone would put on. Like they just took, because obviously later on we're going to see the reanimated scarecrow. It's obviously that's where it's going,
Yeah.
and it looks like it's something someone's going to put on, like a Halloween costume. And yeah, when I saw this, obviously straight away, I thought two things. First, I really wasn't interested in another haunted scarecrow story, and two, obviously we already highlighted the fact that this is clearly going down the road of being a potential ripoff of a classic Goosebumps episode, Scarecrow Walks at Midnight, and that is one of Goosebumps, probably one of its strongest episodes, I would say. And it's kind of like brave to even tackle that because that did have quite a large budget and that did a lot of cool things. I'm not sure they're going to be able to get to that height of what the episode achieved, especially because they had like many scarecrows and they
Yes.
clearly went down the route of just a singular one here.
Yes, that's it. You nailed it there. It was the many against the singular, which worried me. And you do talk about the Scarecrow Walks at Midnight. Remember that episode had a great ending that was incredibly dark. So all these
Mm.
comparisons sit already. But I ended up thinking, because I thought the same thing, I was like, oh, really, really going to do an individual Scarecrow. And then I thought, you know what? No, let's give this a chance because, Aliens to Alien 3, all right, it's inferior, but it wasn't terrible in going back to a singular alien.
Well, I mean, that is quite the interesting perspective, definitely. Yeah, let's see how it goes.
And so they get back home and they set the scarecrow up in the garden. And they show Mark, who insists, well, look, you're still going to build a fence. But they also forgot to deliver the beans, so set back off to finish that job. They swing by Mr. Ersted's barn where they left them. There they now run into Crazy George, who is acting crazy. I know, right? He calls someone Crazy George. Turns out he's crazy.
I'm glad he didn't disappoint.
Hmm. He's ranting incoherently about how he can't find the dragons, therefore they must be stolen. He asks the kids about his dragons, but they deny any knowledge before he starts to rant and rave about a silent servant and magic words, Calvactior Salomonis. Basically, it's nonsensical mad words. What it really is doing is plot filling. He's basically spouting exposition here. If you pay attention to what he said, he's telling us exactly what's going to happen, what we should be expecting to see, and how it's going to play out.
Yeah, and at first I was just quite like enjoying what he was doing, the actor and stuff like that. But he like ends up speaking like a little too long to the point where it just goes like a little over the top and cheesy for my liking.
Agreed, agreed. It's like they want to do the whole like, hey, you kids, don't go in there kind of thing character, but they know also we got to use this guy to fill in a shit ton of plot, so let him just rant and rant and rant and rant and rant, and it's just
Yeah,
after like a minute of it, you're like, wait, what?
I was ready to like move on to the next scene, but then he just kept going.
Well, his madness is enough to send the kids scuttling off eventually, though. And back home, Anne remembers she has the talisman. And when she takes it out, they see it has two small dragons on top. Basically, if I can describe it, folks, Chinese finger trap. A tube with two dragons, my thumb's like that. That's what it basically looks like.
Yeah.
Jared twists one, and that basically loosens it and reveals a scroll. And he reads it aloud as the camera focuses on the scarecrow outside. It's the whole Clockdo, Vericta, Nickdo thing of reading words and something comes to life.
I just have to say, like, I just thought straight away, man, this kid is an absolute like imbecile straight away. Because like, I get that he probably doesn't believe it's real and like whatever, but I'm not, he just immediately, as soon like straight away starts reading without a second's thought. After, crazy, the crazy guy from before was meant to have obviously creep them out and like kind of put them off. So obviously it proves my point that he failed completely at doing that. They just thought they obviously were laughing at his crazy performance as much as I was. So like otherwise he would have been like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't do this because he's a kid at the end of the day, you know?
Well, what makes it worse is that the scroll actually has a warning written on it, and he doesn't read the warning first. He just reads the fucking words.
Get straight to it, yeah.
So the warning is written like this, and it's hilariously poorly written. I've got it all written out as the words. Ye who recites this, that which is written, shall summon the silent Mon hither. Awaken, slumbering servant. Awaken, say your master. Abide by ye true master's words, and hold ye bound by this cantation. Never turn back upon thy mission, thy power, the word, Calivactor Salomonis, as thy true master devised the dragons and sets thy silent servant to rest. That's fucking nonsense.
Okay, now I understand why he just skipped that part and went straight to reading the words.
But it is at least followed by a thunderstorm, and I was like, "Ooh, that's nice and ominous." Later, while taking out the trash, they are jump scared by the scarecrow, believing it moved of its own accord. Mark, who has just come home from baseball practice, doesn't believe them, and even when they try to show him the scarecrow's new position, they find that laying it on its side against the house. He tells them to go to bed as they'll be fixing the broken window in the morning. An angry Jared kicks the scarecrow, demanding that it deliver the beans and fix the window for them. So, like, kind of like an angry, "Ooh, you should do that" kind of thing, which is a fine
Mm.
way to get things started.
Yeah, yeah.
Guess what? The next day, the windows have been fixed and the beans have been delivered. Everyone is happier and none the wiser. They then spend the day fixing the fence, a job that would take several days. Of course, Jared doesn't want to spend the next couple of days doing it, so figures, hey, why don't we try and use the scarecrow again? Commanding it to finish the fence, though Anne is reluctant since Crazy George warned him that it was evil. Okay. Later, the garden fence is finished, leaving Marcus impressed, giving him the afternoon off. However, Jared, feeling satisfied, now commands the silent servant to build him a dugout for the baseball field. So he really is planning to apparently build an old baseball field in his goddamn farm.
Well,
I don't get it as well, because why has he got to build one? Like, Mark goes to baseball practice, which means there's baseball fields he could go and play at. Why does he need to build his own?
also like baseball, if you have a whole like baseball field, you need like
A
players,
lot of room.
you can't like well, you need a lot of space, but you also need like people to play the roles. That's the whole point of there being a big field. If you there's not enough people, man.
Yes, yes, he is not thinking very far ahead. His field of dreaming is he's gonna get some ghosts in. That's what it is.
I think that's the plan.
Later, Jared and Anne come back home from a bike ride and see a baseball dugout has been built. It's not. It's more like I said, a little bit of a covered, some benches on it with a covered roof. So in the end, he didn't really mean a dugout. He meant a fucking bench. However, the boards for it came from the garden fence, which has been torn up. And Anne and Jared try to tell Mark what is going on, but of course he doesn't believe them. I mean, I did like that. Of course, the servant ain't going to understand the specific instructions, so it's going to be like, you want me to build a dugout? I need planks taken from that, you know?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
They're both grounded, but feeling bad, he gives them the bag that has the baseball gloves in it. Unfortunately, it's not got them in it, and inside are tractor parts. How did he not notice the weight difference? A bag with mechanical tractor parts, or a bag with two baseball gloves in. There is a weight difference.
Of course.
And Jared thinks he did it on purpose, so furiously, angrily shouts he'd like to kill whoever did this. And uh-oh, the Scarecrow heard him. I'm worried. They look out the window and see that the Scarecrow is no longer in the garden. Right, this is dumb as fuck. And the reason why it's dumb is it's because of the wording. I'd like to kill whoever did this. Wait, what? What? Now that wording exists makes no sense because he knows Mark. What do you mean whoever? Mark gave.
Mm,
Why would you not say I'd like to kill Mark for that? Because Mark's the one that gave you the bag. But if he had said that, that would
mm,
fuck up the twist at the ending. By saying whoever did it, it gives them an
mm,
out for when the Scarecrow isn't targeting Mark. You know, it makes no sense. It just,
mm.
honestly, at the time I thought that's weird wording. And when I got
Yeah.
to the end, I was like, oh, that's really bad writing. You couldn't find a better way to do that little twist.
No, you're right. Absolutely.
Panicking, the pair try to break the talisman, even trying to use the incantation again, but nothing seems to work. They have no choice but to go and save Mark, arriving in time to warn him of the impending Scarecrow arrival. However, Mark reveals he did actually mean to give their gloves back, but Uncle Pete gave him the wrong bag, so he actually has the gloves. And we cut to Uncle Pete riding a tractor through a field as we see that the Scarecrow is actually targeting him. So yeah, there it is, folks. That's why they messed around with the wording. So that we could all be
Yeah.
like, oh no, it's targeting Uncle Pete.
Hmm.
Uncle Pete stops the tractor and gets out when it breaks down. Looks like it needs a spare tractor part. Oh, whoops, he has the baseball gloves, not the tractor parts he needs. Which again makes no fucking sense. So stop me for a second, folks. Uncle Pete knew he needed to replace a part on the tractor. Hence, he had the tractor parts. But he decided to take the tractor out late at night, because that's when you do your farming, obviously, and didn't previously replace the tractor parts. He was what? Just going to wait till it breaks down? Then be like, oh, now I'll replace the fucking parts in the dark at night. This is dumb. What a dumb way to settle this up.
Yeah, you're right.
What's really annoying as well is the Scarecrow, which is it basically is now moving in slow motion towards, because Pete's sitting there with his tractor, being like, "Oh, what a doofus I am!" It's the Scarecrow's going,
Yeah.
"Oh, I hate that,"
Hmm.
and convinces Mark to drive them to the Earlstad barn, since only the true master can separate the dragons, whether dead or alive. Okay, she managed to work that out. She also works out that if she slams the talisman on the edge of the Earlstad's gravestone, it will snap in half, which it does. Okay, what? Fine. All right, whatever. Because the Scarecrow, who's right behind Uncle Pete, is now teleported to them. And they say the words, Calavector, Salamanos, go back to where you came from, and the Scarecrow collapses into nothing but an unstuffed pile of smoking Scarecrow clothes. And Mark can't believe his eyes, and Anne promises to tell him everything tomorrow after they rebuild a fence. What kind of weird line is that? Like, if I'm
Mm.
Mark, I'm like, well, no, I'm not going to rebuild a fence now. You're going to tell me what's going on. Or while we rebuild a fence, I'm not going to go, all right, and not think any more about it till tomorrow. Fucking weird, man.
Mm.
They head back home and fail to see two hands picking up the two pieces of the dragon's talisman. The person is Crazy George, who joins them back together and laughs maniacally, suggesting that George is a bad guy, a villain? I
Mm.
don't get this.
I know it's frustrating because it's one of those things where, just like in the previous episode, I'm mentioning how I want some kind of thing at the end, some kind of twist or a hook of some kind, but then I finally get one here, and then it's like the most pointlessly like cheesy thing possible.
Yeah, because none of it makes sense as well. All this stuff, the Scarecrow, the talisman was in the barn. They implied early on that maybe George was protecting it and keeping it hidden so that nobody could use it, right? And he that's so why is he evil now? It doesn't make any sense. But this is a couple of minutes of shit that either doesn't make sense or is just stupid and rushed. From Anne somehow working out how to defeat the Scarecrow to apparently it being as simple as just saying those two words and then
Mm.
breaking the talisman. But why the grape? Oh, because it was its master. But surely it had a master before Mr. Earlstad. None of that makes any fucking sense. Plus the attempt to misdirect us of who the Scarecrow was going after. While also, let's be honest, not really having much in the way of threat anyway, because there's nothing. The Scarecrow isn't actually a bad guy. It's
Exactly.
it's simply it does its role, which is I will do what you command. It's what you command me to do that becomes the evil. Oh, right, it can be misinterpreted. But that's just Wishmaster shit. That's just Three Wishes stuff. Come on, man. Honestly, by the end, I was actually angry at this episode because it was like half of the time it didn't make any sense. And what it did make sense, it wasn't particularly interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely nailed it because, like you say, like the Scarecrow is just misinterpreting what they're saying because they're not saying it clearly. But like, if they were aware that basically they can direct this Scarecrow to do anything they want, they were very, very clear about it. With the Scarecrow, you can't really blame the Scarecrow for not bloody knowing what to do properly. It's a Scarecrow, and they're not being very clear. Like I said again, and my issue with this mainly is that they also don't show the consequences to using this. There's no negative consequences for all I can see here. It's just like positive consequences in the sense that they have a scarecrow to do whatever they want. And like, yeah, it can build them fences and all that kind of crap and can build them a baseball field. But what are the consequences to them doing that? You know, like with Wishmaster, use the wishes. There's like a consequence to doing it, like something more bad will happen to you or whatever. Or after you use the three wishes, he'll like take your soul, you know?
Yeah.
There's nothing like that. So we don't really know. Like as far as I'm aware, it looks like it's not necessarily that evil, really.
It's simply it's a tool. Now, if the whole story and the point of it is is the evil that in evil hands, it can be used for evil. Show us some of that. We never
Yeah.
get any of that. It's only ever used, and aside from Crazy George at the end, which doesn't really make any sense at all. It's just a tool and used in this fashion. And also, the worst part is how the fuck does any of this apply to the part of the campfire story, the sneaking in the moot? Where does any of this link in?
Mm.
Because it
Yeah.
also comes up at the end, right? And I'm going to quickly talk about it. Betty Ann ends the story. Gary declares the meeting closed and puts at the campfire. But before everyone can leave, Frank and Kiki go to Betty Ann and ask her to come to a movie with them and promise to buy tickets to make it up for how they treated her earlier. And Betty Ann smiles, agrees, and thanks them. How is that? And any, I don't, what? I feel like I've missed something there.
Yeah, I mean that's confusing as well. But also like I said with the previous episode, the Quiet Librarian, at least that's something that they can all relate to. But that's why I don't think these episodes work either, like in the context of you thinking about it being told to the other storytellers. Like none of them can relate to like a story about like a scarecrow. I assume none of them don't live in like a rural area where they have scarecrows and big like fields of maize and things like that, you know, like so
Mm.
it's not like it's relatable or like so it's not really scary in any particular way, like a scarecrow coming to life and like misinterpreting things you say and like building things poorly, you know. And like you said with Crazy George, it makes no sense because his whole thing is trying to like ward them away from getting to the thing that apparently now he has, but he could have got the whole time. Like it just doesn't make any sense.
Really, really does. It's a frustrating watch, folks. If you want a good Scarecrow horror, just go watch the Goosebumps, The Scarecrow Walks at Midnight, and give this one a pass. Yeah, The Tale of the Silent Servant, episode 7 of season 4 of Are You Afraid of the Dark? We don't like it, but do you? Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It does help us out. You can find us at gbhbl.com and across all social media platforms. And if you really want to give us a bit of extra support, please consider buying us a cup of coffee over on our coffee page. Thank you.